Welcome back to Proactive Health. We provide short, informative videos to help you live a healthy life. This industry is a silent killer. The consumption of vegetable oil is one of the only dietary and lifestyle trends that has risen alongside rising chronic disease rates. While saturated fat, sodium, red meat, carbohydrate, and sugar consumption, as well as rates of smoking and physical inactivity, have all declined in recent decades, our consumption of vegetable oil has increased dramatically. Soybean oil, maize oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil, peanut oil, rice bran oil, grapeseed oil, and cottonseed oil are examples of vegetable oils produced from seeds, grains, and legumes. Vegetable oils, which were nearly non-existent a century ago, now account for 20% of all calories consumed in the United States and can be found in nearly every packaged food and restaurant meal we consume. From tortilla chips, margarine, oat milk and mayonnaise to deli breads, pizza crust, and Chipotle rice. Please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button to help us out. Also, check the box below for several guides to healthy living. Now back to our video. Meanwhile, as vegetable oil consumption has increased, obesity, cancer, and diabetes, among other chronic ailments, have reached new highs. In the United States, 6 out of 10 people have a chronic disease, and 4 out of 10 adults have 2 or more. While the link between vegetable oil consumption and chronic disease may point us in the right direction, it simply establishes a correlation, not causation. Scientific research are used to establish whether vegetable oil causes sickness, while there are just a few well-designed studies on the subject, and most of them only look at short-term impacts. The ones we do have demonstrate that eating vegetable oil has disastrous short-term health implications. Death consequences. Researchers divided study participants into 2 groups in the Sydney Diet Heart Study. Both groups consumed the same amount of fat and oil. However, the first's fat came predominantly from vegetable oil sources such as safflower oil and margarine, whereas the second's fat came from sources such as olive oil and butter. Their meals and habits remained unchanged in every other way. For the next 7 years, both groups were observed and analyzed on a regular basis. What's the end result? During the 7-year trial, those who consumed more vegetable oil had a 62% greater death rate than those who consumed less vegetable oil. To put that into perspective, only severe obesity and heavy smoking are more harmful than the other often stated diet and lifestyle risk factors. Vegetable oil consumption raises your risk of death more than physical inactivity or heavy drinking. And despite the attention paid to red meat and sodium, vegetable oil consumption is 12 to 20 times more dangerous. If heavy smoking raises the risk of mortality by 80% and increasing vegetable oil consumption raises the risk of death by 62%. We can extrapolate that every 5% increase in daily calories from vegetable oil is as risky as smoking 7 cigarettes per day. Another way to look at it is that each spoonful of vegetable oil you ingest raises your chance of mortality by the same amount as smoking 2 cigarettes. Heart disease. Participants in another trial, the Minnesota Coronary Experiment, experienced 86% more heart attacks and a higher risk of mortality after 4 years if they increased their consumption of maize oil and margarine. The 282 participants in the margarine study were divided into 2 groups and taught to eat various types of margarine. Either margarine manufactured with more fat from vegetable oil or margarine made with less fat from vegetable oil. After 2 years, the number of strokes, heart attacks, and cardiovascular deaths in the group eating the margarine with the most vegetable oil was 7 times greater than in the group eating the margarine with the least vegetable oil. Cancer. In the Los Angeles Veterans Administration study, participants who raised their fat from vegetable oil while maintaining their total fat were 82% more likely to die of cancer than those who did not increase their fat from vegetable oil, despite the fact that the control group consumed less fat from vegetable oil. They had twice as many heavy smokers, yet they died of cancer at a lower rate. Weight gain. In one experiment, rats were divided into groups and given meals that were equivalent in terms of fat, protein, and carbohydrate calories but differed in terms of fat source. When compared to rats eating typical fats, the rats receiving fat from safflower oil experienced a 12.3% rise in total body weight. To put a 12.3% rise in body weight into perspective, the average American would gain 23 pounds on a diet rich in vegetable oil, even if total fat and calories remain constant. Many causes are thought to be involved in today's chronic disease and obesity epidemic. Sugar, pesticides, plastics, factory farms, refined carbs, gluten, highly appealing junk food, iPhones, and television have all been blamed for obesity and disease. We're still a long way from agreeing on the underlying causes of today's most pressing health issues. But the more I learn about the subject, the more convinced I am that vegetable oils play a considerably larger role in modern diseases than most people think.